Warning. The Intercontinental Committee on Podcasting warns that listening to the Get the Fluff Out podcast may induce euphoric feelings of nostalgia, which may lead to complete and total ratitude.
The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Fluff, get the fluff out.
Welcome to Get the Fluff Out. I'm Hollywood, along with your co-host, Dirty Jim. And thanks for joining us on our rockin' journey through the decades in our quest for the musical Holy Grail, creating the ultimate Gen X rockin' mixtape playlist. On each episode, we'll choose which songs from an album review that will make the cut to appear on the playlist. It's time to experience the soundtrack of our lives. Well, Dirty Jim, it's time for another episode of the Get the Fluff Out podcast. How are you, my friend?
Good. This is episode 7 already. It feels like we just started, 6 episodes ago?
7, 6... Yeah, that's about right.
I have a question for you, though. You have not updated me. We have not talked about this. Can I ask you a very personal question?
Oh, boy. Okay, it depends. Well, go ahead.
How are the numbers for our new podcast?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a pretty good one. I was actually looking at the numbers recently, and because I'm always interested into seeing how we were doing on the previous podcast, which was Lipstick and Leather podcast.
You're a numbers guy.
Yeah, I'm a numbers guy. I like looking at the stats, and I was checking out our stats here on our new podcast, and dude, we're doing good. I mean, I was expecting to get some collateral damage. Maybe some people from Lipstick and Leather were not going to move over to the Get the Fluff Out podcast, but dude, as I'm looking at the different countries around the world and the numbers that we have, I'm super excited. I mean, obviously, we have a ton of listeners in the United States. We got a big following in the U.S., but also on top of that, we got our neighbors to the north. Canada is represented. Germany is represented. We got fans in Sweden, the U.K., of course, Singapore. We have fans all over the world, and I'm like, this is crazy. So I am super happy with our numbers, even though we're essentially doing a revamp or a restart of the podcast. So I can't complain. I think we're doing pretty good.
I could see why we're so big in the United States, since both of us speak United States.
That's our native language.
Yes,
United
it's our
States-
native tongue.
United Statesian. Dude, that's funny.
Well, that's good to hear, because I was wondering, because you always would text me, oh, hey, we have a new country here. And I remember that one podcast episode we did for Lipstick and Leather where you went through like every state, province, borough. And I was sitting here going, oh, my God, what is going on here? But I'm glad that our numbers are up there. And I know they've probably taken a little bit of a hit because we switched over, but it's good to hear that they're still up there.
Yeah, and I knew that was going to happen, so as time goes on with each and every episode that we do, it's just we're going to continue to build the audience, build it, and work on the podcast. It's, even regardless, I think you even said it before, even if there was 2 or 3 people that were listening, it didn't matter. We're essentially entertaining ourselves.
We would be 2 of those people.
Exactly. Oh, dude. All right, dude. What do we got on tap for today?
Why don't you tell me?
Okay. So today we're essentially introducing a new band to the fold, to the review. And I have to admit, this is a band that I had never heard of before. I heard the name, but I didn't really hear the music. Dirty Jim is a big fan of this band, and the name of the band is Skillet. And the album that we're going to be reviewing is the album entitled Awake. Now, the album itself was released August 25th, 2009. It's the 7th album in their catalog. As far as the band, they originated in Memphis, Tennessee back in 1996. And the band members are lead vocalist and guitar player John Cooper. Then on rhythm guitar, keyboards, and backing vocals, Corey Cooper. On drums and vocals, Jen Ledger. And on lead guitar, Ben Cassica. So that's the basic information regarding this band called Skillet. Dirty Jim, why don't you get into a few album notes regarding the album Awake?
All right, now before you start telling lies, I just want to say that I saw these guys live, and I forgot to look it up exactly when it was, and I don't even know who they opened up for. But when I heard these guys, I never heard of them before, and it wasn't that long ago. And they've been around since 96, like you said, and this album came out in 2009. And when I heard them, I was like, holy crap. And this was the album that I heard them on. Now, the earlier stuff that they have is definitely not as good as this album. And the album after this, it's similar to this album, but not as good as this album. So when it comes to Skillet, I love this album, Awake. So let me get into the album notes. So this album reached number 2 on the U.S. Billboard 200. Did you say it hit double platinum? Or did
I
you
did
not?
not.
Okay,
No.
It hit double platinum, which is 2 million plus albums. It peaked at number 9 in New Zealand. And it won the top Christian album at the 2011 Billboard Music Awards. And at the 41st annual GMA, which is the Gospel Music Association, it won, they do this thing called the Dove Awards. And in 2010, it was nominated for Rock Album of the Year, but it lost. And I saw who it lost to. I didn't know the band, so I didn't even put down the name. There was a whole bunch of bands that I had no idea who they were, so I didn't write down the name. But those are the album notes that I have for Skillet Awake.
Yeah, and when you say, it won top Christian album, going through the songs and looking at the lyrics, this album is not preachy.
Not at all.
In fact, if you were to compare these guys with Stryper, oh boy, Stryper were right there in the pulpit.
If you don't allow Jesus into your heart, you allow a place for the devil. Praise Jesus, Lord God. Hallelujah.
They were preaching to the choir. They're preaching to people out in the street. They had the megaphone out. They're throwing Bibles into...
Yeah, these guys are actually... These guys are, you could tell some of the songs, they're really talking about it, but it's really just uplifting. Where other songs, you're like, these guys are really religious? You just don't notice in some of the songs.
Yeah, exactly. So don't let that turn you guys off just because you hear that quote-unquote label. It's just rock music. So why don't we get into it?
All right, let's move on down, or let's start with track number 1, Hero. So Hero was a platinum single in the United States, which means that 1 million just of this track were sold, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So Hero is a solid medium tempo rocker. It's aggressive and dynamic. I love the trading off of the vocals between Cooper and Ledger. And perhaps, since I saw the band, perhaps I should say John and Jen to portray a personal attachment to the band.
Okay.
But anyway, it's a delectable 3 minutes and 7 seconds. I love it. It's a prime cut for me.
Okay, so for me, the song Hero, right away, I hear a polished modern rock sound, and there's this high gloss production, and the intro, it actually reminded me of the intro to a song called Paper Cut by Linkin Park on their debut album called Hybrid Theory. It's just when you listen, if you compare the intro to Hero and the intro to Paper Cut by Linkin Park, there's so many similarities to it. It's awesome. John Cooper has a powerful, raspy voice, but the vocals that are done by the drummer, Jen Ledger, so good. I mean, she reminds me of another female singer. Her name is Lacey Mosley from a band called Flyleaf. And Jen's voice, I'm drawn to her voice. I mean, her voice is that good to me. So I'm hoping as I hear this is the first time I'm hearing this album. So as I'm hearing that song and I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be great. I'm going to hear Jen's voice on every song on this album. So stay tuned for that. And as I suspected, I didn't hear a guitar solo, which is really, it's 2009. It's typical of modern rock songs at the time. I mean, it would have been nice for them to at least play maybe a little lead melody line, but anyway, it doesn't matter to me. It's a great song. It's a prime cut, and it's making the ultimate rockin' Gen X mixtape playlist, something that Dirty Jim still has to learn how to say.
I probably will never, but I did want to say that whenever I saw these guys live, because I had never heard them, and I heard that female voice, and I'm like, wait a minute, who's doing that? And I'm looking around, and I'm like, is it the drummer? Holy crap, it's the drummer doing that voice.
Yeah, a lot of times the drummers will have either a headset with a microphone, or they'll just have the microphone right on the side while they're playing. And she sounds awesome.
Definitely. And before we move on to track number 2, I just wanted to say that Hero was the first single for the album. So let's move on down to the second single of the album. And it's track number 2, Monster.
Okay, so the song Monster. So the track, it starts with this heavy, distorted guitar riff. Right away, I'm loving it. And it gets right through the verse and into this chorus. It's a super catchy chorus with this crowd chant, I feel like a monster. I could see people in the audience kind of raising their fist, screaming out the chorus. And I even like the bridge where he kind of has a part where he does these kind of Cookie Monster vocals where he sings, I feel like a monster. But I think it's cool.
That is true. It did sound like Cookie Monster. Now that you say it.
Yeah. But this track, believe it or not, it has 422 million streams on Spotify. 422 million. So I started looking up bands that we kind of grew up with, and let's compare that to Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, and Iron Maiden. So Dirty Jim, there's a little trivia for you. Which band do you think has more Spotify streams on one song than Skillet's Monster? Is it Black Sabbath Paranoid? Is it Iron Maiden The Trooper? Or is it Judas Priest Breaking the Law? Which do you think has more Spotify streams? Don't look it up.
Black Sabbath.
Dude, you're looking it up. You took too long.
How am I going to look it up? I don't get internet in my closet.
What do you live out in the boondocks? You get internet in your closet? What's that mean?
I'm sitting here. I got one thing to my right. I got my iPad in front of me with my notes on it. I have not looked up anything. I'm just thinking which one would get more, and I'm thinking it's going to be Black Sabbath.
Oh, you're so funny. I don't get internet in my closet. I live in Kathmandu. Yeah. Okay, so you're correct. The answer is Black Sabbath Paranoid has 565 million streams on Spotify. Just for the others, Iron Maiden The Trooper has 257 million streams. And then Judas Priest Breaking the Law has 166 million streams on Spotify. So overall, this song, Monster, it's a monster song, and it's a prime cut, and it's also my...
Oh, boy.
This track is my sweet, bling-bling monster track of the album. Prime cut making the playlist, baby.
All right. So now Monster, I said that Hero was a platinum single, 1 million were sold. Monster, 2 million plus were sold. It is a double platinum single.
Right.
This is similar to Hero, but it's more hard-hitting and in your face for 2 minutes and 58 seconds. It rocks, and I want to share it with my fellow man and woman. Welcome to the playlist, monster. You done good. It's a prime cut for me. Let's move on down to track number 3 without any further ado. Don't Wake Me. So, Don't Wake Me. This is a more than decent power ballad, which that's not going to be the last time I say this about this album, because they are coming. Those ballads are coming. But it is a more than decent power ballad. I really like the chorus. It's not the best ballad I've ever heard, but I think it's worthy of a seat on this Gen X ride. I'm never going to know that whole thing that you say about this whole Gen X mixtape. It's a deep cut for me.
Okay. You're going to have to learn that one day.
I think it's better if I don't.
Right? Just leave it that way. Okay. All right. So, Don't Wake Me. My first impression of the song right away is that this is basically a modern rock version of a country song. The chorus, to me, it's okay. There's some cool vocal harmonies, but this song is definitely not in my wheelhouse. So if this song comes knocking on my door, don't wake me, because this song is going to Fluffy Town. Fluff cut out of here.
So Don't Wake Me is the first song on this album that does not make it.
This is correct.
All right, well, while I dry my tears, let's move down to track number 4, Awake and Alive.
Okay, so Awake and Alive. Now, the 5-second keyboard intro leads into this heavy mid-tempo guitar riff, and John Cooper is the one who actually sings the A portion of the verses, and thank God, the drummer Jen Ledger, she comes in and she's singing the B portion of the verses, which I love. And then she also strengthens the chorus with backing harmonies and co-lead vocals. And to me, whenever I hear Jen Ledger sing, it's a better song. And there's something peculiar that I'm hearing in this song, too. Right after the bridge in the song, they include this kind of strange, mysterious sound. It's a guitar solo. Imagine that. A guitar solo in a rock song. Yeah, so anyway, they included an actual guitar solo in the song. I think this song is awesome. It's a really cool song. It's a prime cut, making it to the ultimate Gen X rockin' mixtape playlist.
So Awake and Alive is their third single, and I'm going to be saying that about 4 more times. Not the third single, but this album has so many singles.
I know. I didn't understand. I was like, wow, bands are releasing. But I guess by that time, by the 2000s, that's what you had to do to sell music.
Right. And this also is a platinum single because it had at least 1 million sold. But wow. And I thought that this was a perfect mix for my friend Hollywood because it's got a blend of classical and rock in the intro.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
So this one pushes forward at a medium, deliberate pace. And like you said, there's more vocal trade-off between John and Jen. They're my friends. It's probably the best chorus on this whole album. It's assertive, it's inspirational, it's magnificent, and it's not only a prime cut, but it's also and this is a throwback to our lipstick and leather days. It's a dirty delivery!
Welcome. You've got mail.
That is my dirty delivery song of the album. Let's get on down to track number 5, One Day Too Late. Like I had previously stated, this would not be my last time announcing a single, and here we go with One Day Too Late. It is the 7th single of the album. It's an inspirational, make the most of your time power ballad they must have talked probably to Ozzy Osbourne, because that's basically what he does on every album he comes out. Now he at least has one of those songs. But it's pretty heavy for a ballad when it really kicks in. This guy's voice is powerful. And I know you said that before, but it really is. This guy's voice, he has something going on. It's very almost Dee Snider-y of the day. He just has this powerful voice. And maybe it's studio. I don't know. I saw him live. He sounded fantastic. But in this song, he really touched me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. No, but in a good way.
Good way.
I love this song. And it deserves a place on the playlist. I have it as a prime cut.
Wow, it's man, when you're comparing him to Dee Snider, I did a double take. I'm like, huh? No.
I'm just saying with the powerful vocals. Okay. It is just the whole night he just had that powerful, like Dee does. It's just all night long. He never felt like he was straining.
Wow, okay. That's cool. Good for him. So for me, the song One Day Too Late. Now, I heard this song, and right away I'm hearing another band. To me, it kind of sounds like a Nickelback song. There's a number of bands that were coming out in the 2000s that, to me, started sounding very similar, very alike. Same kind of production on the music, same style of vocals. Now, as far as Nickelback, I'm not gonna bash on Nickelback because they got some songs that I really do like, but it just sounded too similar to them. And to me, this is the 7th single, and I'm thinking that Skillet and the record label, they kind of cast out that fishing line one too many times. This song is not something that's in my wheelhouse. Fluff cut. Out of here.
Oh, tough break.
Yeah,
because
I know.
It stays.
It stays because you gave it a prime cut. So just so you guys know, that's kind of our rules. So we got to prepare this ahead of time. But if one person does a prime cut and the other person doesn't like it at all and does a fluff cut, it doesn't matter. The fluff cut is nullified and the prime cut takes precedence. But if one person gives it a deep cut and one person gives it a fluff cut, then the fluff cut supersedes the deep cut, and it's out of here and not making it to the ultimate Gen X Rockin' Mixtape playlist.
And the only song that has not made it because of that so far is Don't Wake Me. Everything else has made the list.
All right,
let's move down to track number 6. It's Not Me, It's You.
All right, so It's Not Me, It's You. So I heard this song, and it's a slower mid-tempo tune, and it does have a heavy rock chorus, which I really like. So actually my favorite part of the track is this heavy guitar riff right before the bridge at the 2-minute mark. But to me, the song it's kind of bland. It's there, it's okay, but I like it enough that I'm going to give it a deep cut, and it should make the ultimate mixtape playlist.
I think it's funny because, like Blind Melon really resonated with me, and so does Skillet. And there's going to be other bands like that, just like where bands resonate with you and don't with me. Right. But this album I freaking love, just like I did with Blind Melon. But let me get into It's Not Me, It's You, which is the 6th single from the album.
Oh, shocker.
And my runner-up, this was my runner-up this was my second favorite song of the album as far as which one was going to be the dirty delivery.
Oh, wow.
But this is the perfect breakup song for someone that really did you wrong. Some say that, to be the bigger person and just move on. I say nay.
You say nay, nay?
I say crank this song outside their window, holding your boombox over your head to clearly convey your feelings to that person. Kind of like John Cusack did in Say Anything.
Say
right?
Anything, exactly. Yeah, I was totally getting the reference there with John Cusack.
Right. I just want to make sure everyone else did.
Yeah.
But it's a trudging, angry, heavy, deliberate message in this song. Download this one and use it as needed. I'm a fan, and I want you to feel it too. It is a prime cut for me. So it does make the list. And it would have made the list anyway because you deep cutted it, even if I threw a deep cut at it. But I love the song. I think others out there that actually have a little musical taste will love it too. But let's not get any further into that one. Let's move on down to track number 7, Should've When You Could've. I just have one question for John L. Cooper. Now, I know this is the second straight song where they're singing about, like a breakup and something like that. But with Should've When You Could've, John L. Cooper, who hurt you? Yeah, I think he needs a hug. But this one, it's not as angry as the last one, but there's still an edge to it. I really like the sound of this one. And I am throwing, and I know what's going to happen with like the next 4 songs, but for this one, I am throwing a prime cut at it.
Okay, Should've When You Could've. Dude, what's that smell? Ay, Fuchi Capesta! That is some badly aged queso.
Perhaps these songs just aren't resonating with the Puerto Rican in you.
The title of the song and the chorus is so freaking cheesy. Should've when you could've. Come on. And just to me, it's an uninspiring song. I don't care what Dirty Jim just said. To me, it's uninspiring. The song is called Should've When You Could've. So to me, they should've hired a garbage truck when they could've and sent this track to the town dump up on the hill. For Hollywood, it's a fluff cut. I would say it's out of here, but since Dirty Jim prime cutted it, it's going to end up on the playlist, unfortunately. Sorry, guys.
Is cutted it, are you speaking United States there?
That's United Statesian.
I actually love this song. I hope others do too.
Really?
Let
Dude,
us know.
How could you love this song?
I love it. I love this album.
Should've
and I
when
love
you
this
could've.
guy's voice.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
But I would like for people, go on our site there and let us know that, hey, if you hate what I'm saying, let me know. But let's move down to track number 8, Believe.
Okay, so the song Believe. Now this is, it's kind of a power ballad. And the track, it starts with these slow arpeggiated acoustic guitars. And it picks up at the pre-chorus. And the chorus itself is kind of this mid-tempo rock style. Now, the music break at around the 2-minute, 18-second mark, it's decent. It has these orchestrated violins, and there's a mini guitar solo. But I'm listening to the song, and you say you love John Cooper's voice. By this time already, his voice is starting to irritate the hell out of me. And I'm like, dude, why didn't they have Jen Ledger sing this song? It would have been so much better if Jen sang the song. Here we are, 8 songs into the album, and she's only sang on a couple tracks. To me, huge mistake for the band. They should be having her sing more of the songs. For me, fluff cut, off to Fluffyville you go.
Jen Ledger is too busy drumming.
Dude, she's an amazing musician. She drums and she sings, and she's got a great voice.
She's too busy making the drumming.
Hey, dude, John Cooper's busy also making the guitarin'.
Well, Jen's got other things on her mind. She probably wrote those 2 breakup songs.
Okay.
All right. Believe for me. Now, obviously, this band loves a heavy power ballad. And just like you said, I wasn't feeling this at first until that pre-chorus kicked in. And then the song grabbed me. I love the sound of the chorus. I am a believer.
Oh, brother.
But to me, this falls somewhere between prime and deep. But since I'm questioning it, I'm only going with deep cut. So obviously, Believe goes into Fluffy Town. Let's move down to track number 9, Forgiven. So Forgiven is their 4th single. And it looks like you said, it looks like they're just saying, you know what, let's get our music out there. Hopefully they sell. And it did work for some of them, especially the first few, you know?
Right.
But I'm actually convinced that Skillet is the hard-rocking reincarnation of what Air Supply wished they were back in the 80s when they were soft-rocking fans in arenas all over the world. But for me, I know you're not going to like this, but it's another solid, heavy power ballad and another for playlist consideration, but only as a deep cut for me.
Okay, so for me, the song Forgiven. Here I'm thinking, I don't understand why they didn't follow up a power ballad with an upbeat, fast-tempo track. The way they're selecting songs here towards the back end of the album is confusing me a lot. So that's throwing me off. To me, this is a slow to kind of mid-tempo song. It basically sounds like a bunch of other songs on this album. I'm starting to hear a lot of the same thing happening. And I think, to me, Skillet as a band, they should go ahead, walk into a church confessional, confess their sins of allowing this song on the record, and then all of a sudden on the other side of the confessional comes out Father Sam Kinison yelling, "Oh, oh! What were you thinking? Put this piece of crap on the album!" It's a Fluff cut. Out of here.
Wow. I know what's happening with probably at least two of the next 3. Let's get on down to track number 10. It is out of here because I only did a deep cut, so
right.
It's gone.
Right.
Track number 10 is Sometimes.
Okay, here we go with the song called Sometimes. Now we're back to this heavy guitar chord progression, albeit it's a kind of a slower mid-tempo song, but still you got some heavy guitars going on. To me, the lyrics are soul-searching in the chorus. Just reading some of them, it says, "Sometimes I don't want to be better. Sometimes I can't be put back together. Sometimes I find it hard to believe there's someone else who could be just as messed up as me." And then in the bridge, Cooper sings, "I'm sometimes a sinner, sometimes a saint." So I think it's a really cool song lyrically, and I'm sure there's a bunch of people who can totally relate to the lyrical content of the song. The music is good. It's a decent song. For me, it's not a prime cut, but it's good enough to be a deep cut.
I just want to start this out by saying, kind of like you already pointed out, that newsflash, this is not a power ballad.
Right.
Because I agree that the last few songs on this album, really, I mean, from like the last 5 tracks, pretty much, it's like, what is going on here? But they do have 12 tracks on the album, which they could have easily ousted 3 of them and had a solid 9 tracks.
They should have when they could have. That's what they should have done.
But they didn't. So we can't even talk about it like that, because Skillet decided we're going to throw all 12 at you and we're going to put all the slow stuff at the end, except for Sometimes, track number 10.
Right.
And this is really, to me, it's kind of a slowed down, lesser version of It's Not You, It's Me.
Yeah.
At times it really did sound like it was leading into the same exact chorus. And I'm like, holy crap.
There's some of these songs are sounding a little bit alike. And
right.
That's because I'm not familiar with it. This is the first time I'm listening to it. And it's just kind of starting to kind of mesh and blend together for me.
Now, if I had to choose between the 2 songs, this one and the other one I was talking about, this one will lose every time. But I still like it enough to keep it around, but only as a deep cut, which means that sometimes joins the Gen X long thing that you say all the time, playlist.
Let's make it a playlist.
Right. Let's get on down to track number 11, Never Surrender. So Never Surrender, just like Believe, which was 3 songs ago, I think, I wasn't feeling this until the first chorus kicked in. there's something about Cooper's voice in these heavy power ballads, which obviously Hollywood is not feeling, but I am. But maybe only because I have a bigger heart than Hollywood, because I have a bigger chest, which is obvious. And if this was a video podcast, you would be able to tell that. But let's move on. That's neither here nor there. And just like you said, that one after another, listening to this songs, you do get a little tired of that power ballad sound. But if these songs popped up randomly on a playlist of thousands of songs, I don't think you really would, because I do like the sounds of pretty much all of these power ballads. I think they're all very solid. And to me, Never Surrender is yet another deep cut. That's for me, but I feel that we will never be hearing Never Surrender again on his Gen X playlist. What do you say, Hollywood?
Okay, Never Surrender. My first note says, another power ballad?
You can't get enough ballads.
Dude, what are they doing? It's just like, it's like they keep going back to the well over and over and over. They're like, we're going to get a hit on one of these. We're going to get a hit on... They're cranking out a bunch of power ballads, hoping that something is going to stick and sell. It's crazy, but I'll say this about the song. I really like the powerful chorus. I dig it. The chorus is a really cool chorus, and I love the part where John Cooper is actually singing in his upper register. He's not just kind of this gravelly, raspy voice in his mid-range. He's actually hitting a higher register, which I totally dig. So I like the song enough. It's not a fluff cut. It's not a prime cut. It's simply going to make a deep cut, which means it's making the ultimate Gen X rockin' mixtape playlist.
Welcome aboard, Never Surrender. Welcome aboard. Sorry your friends couldn't make it.
All aboard!
Let's go down to track number 12, the final track of the album, Lucy.
So the song Lucy. Wow. Ending the album with another ballad. Now, this is not even a power ballad. This is, to me, this is a piano ballad version of track 3, which is called Don't Wake Me. Yeah, you're listening to the music. If you listen to the lyrics, yeah, they're poignant, they're touching. But it's, to me, again, it's another modern rock ballad version of a country song. And I don't want to bash on country. There's, for the most part, I'm not really a country fan, but I do like some country. But these kinds of songs, I don't get it. It doesn't resonate with my ear, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'm sorry. This is a fluff cut. It's out of here.
I can honestly say that with the two people that do this podcast, which is obviously myself and Hollywood, it is unanimous that country is not very popular amongst us. So, and I have right here with Lucy, I said, what a better way to end the album, but with a final ballad. This is actually the saddest of all of the ballads that are on this album.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but the others, in my opinion, blow it away. So I am going to say cheerio to this one. My only fluff cut of the album. I hope you have a soft landing in the fluffy cloud, Lucy. Now get again!
You gotta get on down to Fluffy Town. Get down, get on down. There's no escape from Fluffy Town. Get down, get on down. Get down!
Bye-bye!
Yeah, you know what? Lucy is actually the 5th single, which really surprised me. But 7 singles for this album. Lucy does not make it.
Yeah. Wow. I'm surprised that even you fluff cutted this song since you were gushing over this album. But
they were power ballads. This was just ballad without the power.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So essentially that does it, Dirty Jim. That's Skillet Awake. Now we realize here's the thing. There are going to be certain albums that Dirty Jim and I are going to be reviewing that...
This one.
Including this
one. I know exactly what you're going to say. This is one of them.
And that we did not listen to growing up together. Obviously, Dirty Jim and I, we grew up, we went to high school together. We've been in 2 bands together, and we listened to a lot of the same music for years and years. But there was a time when, once I moved to California and I moved away, and this is already now 32 years ago that I moved away from Naugatuck, Connecticut. Can't even believe it.
Seems like only yesterday.
Yeah, exactly, because you love me that much. So, but the thing is, during that time in the 90s and the 2000s, Dirty Jim was listening to his music. He was still keeping up with some music, whereas a bunch of our friends totally were still stuck in the 70s and 80s. But I did the same thing. I kept up with music. I kept listening in the 90s and the 2000s. So there's going to be some stuff that even I have listened to that I'm sure Dirty Jim can't stand. In fact,
that's a fact.
I know. There's some stuff I tried out on him before, and he was like, oh, what the hell is this? So that's going to happen from time to time, guys. But you know what? The thing is, it's music, and it's all relative as far as who likes what and who doesn't like what. So if I don't like it, hey, it doesn't matter. I don't care. You shouldn't care. Same thing with Dirty Jim. So he loves the album. Great.
It hits me in a different way sometimes whenever you don't like something that I like.
Yeah, every now and then when I throw a zinger and I really don't like a song, it kind of, I could feel the pinch into his heart.
Yeah, it hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
It's almost like we should have when we could have.
No, don't. All right, guys. That's it. That does the album review. We're so happy that you guys hung out with us for this review here. So why don't you go ahead and talk about the sound effects and all that other stuff.
All right, so the sound effects, we do our own sound effects sometimes, but also we get some of our sound effects from a site called zapsplat.com. And our intro music we got from a site called looperman.com. And it was a mix between a drum loop from HP Records called Vintage Kit 2 and a guitar loop from GeoMoon called Groovy Rock Guitars Loop Riff.
And then obviously the outro music is a song called Elysian Fields by the famous band from Naugatuck, Connecticut called Forced Entry from 1988. Copywritten by Hollywood and Dirty Jim. Those are aliases, by the way.
Oh, they did it when they could. They did it when they could.
Stop it! All right, guys, so we want to make sure that we thank our producer, engineer, Frank. Thank you, Frankster. Thank you so much for all the work that you do.
I forgot all about Frank.
Hold on a second. Frank, he must have prepared this. He's putting up a sign to the window. It simply says, sit on it.
Wow. Okay, Fonzie.
He's going back to happy days.
Wow. Some of the people out there are like, what? Huh?
Oh, man. Okay, guys, we want to thank everyone for carving out some time in your busy schedule to listen to the Get the Fluff Out podcast and to get a little Gen X nostalgic with us. So with that
Hey, wait a second, friend. I know what you're doing. You're closing out the program.
I am.
But let's tell them that the companion album to this episode is the 1984 album from the Scorpions, Love at First Sting. And in 2 weeks, you'll be able to listen to Billy Squier, Don't Say No from 1981, and Skid Row, their self-titled debut album from 1989. Now finish it out, friend.
So with that being said, Dirty Jim, we just got the fluff out.
Yeah, we did.